Go right there, another block by Miguel.
Wide open is Regulus. Back-to-back triples for Mono Vampire.
Only 7 remaining. He makes his move. Young forces it up and in! CC hasn't made a shot before that.
Pretty good so far here in the first half.
Lai, oh, everyone for the Black Bears finding the bottom of the net. Leaky with a big steal. Leaky for 3. That goes in. What a play!
This broadcast of the ASEAN Basketball League may not be in way, shape, or form without an express written consent of the ABL.
Xin được chào mừng tất cả các bạn cổ động viên đang có mặt tại nhà thi đấu trường quốc tế Canada CAS ngày hôm nay để cùng theo dõi trận thi đấu bóng rổ. Vâng, để theo dõi trận thi đấu bóng rổ giữa hai đội Formosa Dreamers và đội chủ nhà Saigon Heat.
And Marco Benitez at the helm of this coverage. And that's right. We're hearing it from the crowd here inside the venue. 2-4 Saigon Heat up against the 5-6 Formosa Dreamers. But I believe right now we shall go to the team introductions first.
Và xin được mời quý vị hãy cùng vỗ tay thật to để chào đón linh vật của chúng ta, ông mascot, ông Ba.
Before that, let's take a quick scan, Marco B, of our team standings here. And, you know, these teams slightly in the middle of the pack. Saigon 2-4, a rough start for them. Formosa at 5-6.
For the Formosa Dreamers, right in the middle of the pack, Martin, after 3 straight losses to start of the season. Meanwhile, the Saigon Heat have lost 3 of their last 5 games. And the side story here, Martin, is this is a homecoming of sorts for Coach Kyle Julius, who was coach of this team for the past 2 years, led this team to their first playoff franchise victory last season against the CLS Knights.
Head coach of the Saigon Heat the past couple of seasons, made the playoffs in each of them. So he left a winning tradition. Talking about Coach Kyle Julius here, and as you mentioned, won their first playoff game against the CLS Knights last year. All right, let's go first to the team introductions here, starting with the Formosa Dreamers.
Number 14, Si Sung Yu. Number 20, Jordan Wade Talbot. Number 23, Kenneth Tian. Head coach of Dreamers is Mr. Kyle Julius, an old friend. Assistant coach is Mr. Lai Colin. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that's up to our home team, Saigon Xin cảm ơn quý vị. Thank you. Two teams, please shake hands. Xin mời hai đội chúng ta bắt tay nhau.
All right, we are back to the coverage. You're inside the CIS Arena, the Canadian International School, right here in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Good afternoon, everybody. You guys are catching the action here in the ASEAN Basketball League, season number 10, Rise to Greatness. Joining you are Martin Javier and Marco Benitez here in the coverage. Now, take a look at the previous game rather, of the Formosa Dreamers. And Marco, this is a heartbreaker for them, losing by a point, leading it pretty much most of the way against the Kuala Lumpur Dragons, but ending up losing by one.
Well, they led by as much as 20 points in that game, but lost, as you mentioned, lost by just 1 point. Will Artino stepped up big. They led Formosa Dreamers to 30 points in the paint. Meanwhile, here, Saigon Heat winning a big one against the Macau Wolf Warriors. Torian Graham with a season high, so far a career high, 45 points. 10 of his 45 points coming in the last 2 minutes of that ball game. So that was a big win here. Big win for the Saigon Heat just 2 days ago.
Right.
And they're looking to build on that win and string 2 straight victories, this time against the Formosa Dreamers.
Torian Graham exploding for 45 points, including 10 three-pointers, as you mentioned. And as a team, they had a total of 16 three-pointers against the Macau Wolf Warriors. But one player from the visiting squad, the Formosa Dreamers, who's been having his best season so far in the ABL, Jaron Young, had another double-double against the Dragons.
Well, he is making a case for a World Import MVP this season. He's averaging close to 20 points per game. Add to that 13 rebounds per game and a shade above 5 assists per ball game. So we were talking to Coach Kyle Julius earlier, and the system that he is running has really allowed Jaron Young to flourish here for the Dreamers.
Perfect compliment for the play of Anthony Tucker at the point guard position. But this is the performance we were talking about earlier. 45 big ones in his third game here in the ABL. Torian Graham absolutely taking over against the Macau Wolf Warriors and leading the Saigon Heat to their second win of the season.
Tied the ABL season high in terms of scoring, also tied the record in terms of three-pointers made per game by an individual. So let's see if he can follow it up with a big game here, especially in front of their home squad.
This is the starting unit for Coach Kyle Julius, Jet Chang, Amigo Yang, 2 locals joining the Free World imports of this squad, wearing the black kits, the away jerseys here at the CIS Arena. On the other side for the Saigon Heat, a new face. Well, they faced this guy a couple of days ago, and now they're joining them, or he's joining this team rather. And a strange situation here for Mike Bell, but they'll take it. You know, it's going to be Mike Bell, Torian Graham, and Sam Thompson as the world imports today for the Saigon Heat. As we take a look at Coach Kyle Julius, former head coach of the Saigon Heat. Coached the team for the past couple of seasons, made the playoffs in each year, 10-10 in the first, 14-12 in the second, made the playoffs, or led them to their first playoff win last year. Coach Kevin Yerkes, new man at the helm for the Saigon Heat. All right, it is a 5-6 Formosa Dreamers against the 2-4 Saigon Heat. First crack at the basket here for the Formosa Dreamers, but let's tear down the foundation here first. Marco B. Some keys. The Formosa Dreamers, they're playing away from home, and they're also facing an electrifying crowd here inside the CIS Arena. What should be the key here for them?
Well, I think for the Formosa Dreamers, they need to control the boards. They're a team that has proven that they are the better team in terms of rebounding, averaging about 38 rebounds per ball game. They have to start out strong, especially in a hostile environment here in Saigon. And of course, number 3, they have to connect on their outside shots, especially with guys like Jaron Young, Amigo Yang, Anthony Tucker, even Jet Chang.
You mentioned Jaron Young attacking the basket and opening the scoring here in the game, scoring that one off the glass. But for the Saigon Heat, this is another change in personnel for them. A big change because they had Kino Williams a couple of days ago, and now they have Mike Bell at the center spot. Now, what should be the key here for Coach Kevin Yerkes' team as we take a look at Justin Young take the contact and the foul on his way up?
Well, Martin, it has to start out on defense for the Saigon Heat. They have to defend well against Anthony Tucker in terms of defending that ball screen offense for him. Of course, they have to defend that penetration coming from Jaron Young. We all know one of the best penetrators, one of the best slashers in the league today. They have to force turnovers against the Formosa Dreamers, and on their part on offense, they have to connect on the outside and get a lot of involvement from the locals and really get good chemistry with Mike Bell, whom they played against a couple of days ago while he was playing with the Wolf Warriors. Now he has to gel quickly with the Saigon Heat and really fill that slot in the middle. But you were talking to Coach Kevin Yurkus, his length, his athleticism will be a good complement to their pressing defense.
That's right. No time for a full practice for Mike Bell with the Saigon Heat. He is ready to go, and he is guarding Tolbert right here. Tolbert missing the first attempt, but puts it right back in. The second basket for the Formosa Dreamers.
A good sign here for Coach Kyle Julius, who mentioned when we were talking to him that Tolbert has to be more assertive as opposed to the past few games that he has played. His season high so far, I believe, is just 16 or 18 points. So really has to contribute more, especially in the offensive end.
He only had 6 points and 5 rebounds, but Anthony Tucker getting him involved early here. Tolbert with a jam.
First 4 points of the Dreamers, courtesy of Anthony Tolbert. But you know, if there is one guy who will find you if you're free, that's Anthony Tucker.
And a good start here for the Formosa Dreamers. An early 5-point lead. Justin Young, the spin, and the rejection coming from Jaron Young.
So far, I like the ploy here of Coach Kevin Yurkus to attack the defense of Anthony Tucker using Justin Young, but that's just excellent help side defense coming from Jaron Young.
Using the left hand to reject Justin Young in that sequence. Sam Johnson, stop spins, fadeaway jumper is off of Mike Bell, flying in out of nowhere for the two-hander.
Announces his entry into the lineup with a follow-up jam, and that's what we talked about, the length, the athleticism, that time coming from beyond 15 feet to get an offensive rebound and put back.
Mike Bell gets on the board here. Oh, Jet Chan. That's denied by Quadran. Quadran is on the move. Saigon trying to build their rhythm here. Oh, that should have been a kick ball. Instead, it's picked up by Yang. 2-on-2 break. 3-on-2. Corner shot. Amigo. No go. Rebound goes to Tolbert. Yang. That's going to be a travel here for Taiwan veteran Amigo Yang.
Good call by the referee, lifted his pivot foot before the ball hit the floor. But so far, good showing for Jordan Tolbert. A couple of putbacks, a couple of offensive rebounds.
You see his hunger bounce back after that tough performance against the Kuala Lumpur Dragons.
And Amigo Yang matched up against Dorian Graham. This is what they missed against the KL Dragons. Kate Davis went to work in that game, sniping from the outside. Could have used the defense of Amigo Yang.
Amigo Yang did not play in that game because of personal reasons. Graham for 3. No good. Rebound goes to Jaron Young.
He was 10 out of 16 from long distance last game.
Young though stops. Short on a jumper, but Anthony Tucker tracks the ball down. 12 seconds to work with for the Dreamers. Tucker against the taller Bell. Tucker gets it to Young. 9 seconds to work with. Tolbert with precision inside, and 6 points for Jordan Tolbert to open the game.
And that one, as a result of that ball screen offense, got the switch. And then Jaron Young finding the mismatch in Jordan Tolbert against Justin Young.
This is another turnover committed by the Saigon Heat, and Jaron Young went to work immediately in the open court. Gets the foul in the process. He will have 2 ticks at the free throw line in a little bit.
That's 2 turnovers already for the Saigon Heat. They have to be very careful because the Dreamers, with their athleticism on the wing spot, Jaron Young, Jet Chang, even Amigo Yang, can really capitalize on those turnovers.
Jaron Young played for the Singapore Slingers last year, went all the way to the finals, but lost to the CLS Knights in Game 5 at home at the OCBC Arena. Was found a new home to the Formosa Dreamers in Taiwan, and has been balling out so far in the first 11 games for the Dreamers this year.
Well, there's never been a question ever since Jaron Young entered the league of his athleticism and his ability to score. But so far, under the system of Coach Kyle Julius, he has really put things together. He's also averaging double digits in terms of rebounding, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. averaging a double-double this year. Graham gets this one to Thompson. 6 seconds to work with. Sam Thompson, the spin, the shot, it's off. Mike Bell with a tip, and that's gonna count for Bell. So 4 points now for Mike Bell. At goaltend.
And immediately you see the difference between the Mike Bell's presence as compared to Kenyo Williams. A lot more athleticism, a lot more activity under the basket.
Mike Bell about 6'10", 6'11". Look at the length he provides here for the Heat. Jet Chang missing the mark. That's a rebound taken by Sam Thompson. Graham trying to find his rhythm here in the first quarter. They find Mike Bell inside. Oh, what a tap coming from Mike Bell to Anthony Tucker to keep the ball on the side of the Heat.
That was the right idea there coming from Quatron. Pass just a little wide. Good presence of mind there from Mike Bell to save the ball off of Anthony Tucker.
16 seconds to work with. A lot of time here to set up the offense, but Graham will pull the trigger right away, missing everything. And Jaron Young is off and running. Young over to the corner, and Tucker for three, in and out. Oh! Oh! One-handed putback jam for Jordan Tolbert.
And you asked Coach Kyle Julius if this would be the breakout game of Jordan Tolbert. So far, he has not disappointed.
What an emphatic hammer to wake up the crowd here. Jet Chang puts it up and in. And the Dreamers building their biggest lead so far. It stands at 9 points, 14-5 against the home team, the Saigon Heat, as Coach Ken Yerkes calls for time. The ball game story so far in the first 5 minutes of this contest is the run game of the Dreamers, Marco V, and the activity, early energy coming from Jordan Tolbert, who has posted 8 points and 4 rebounds so far. Coming in, he is averaging 11.6 points per game and 9 rebounds.
And they're dominating the inside the painted area. 10 points in the paint already. 4 offensive rebounds for the Formosa Dreamers.
That's right. And the Dreamers attacking relentlessly here. Let's see how the Heat will counter off the timeout. Thompson in trouble. Gets it to Graham. Great defense by the Dreamers. But that's a bailout foul against Kenny Chen.
And you know, the versatility on the wing of the Formosa Dreamers, allowing them to switch those ball screens, those handoffs, especially with guys like Jaron Young, Kenny Chen, even Jordan Tolbert with the ability to defend the perimeter.
That's right. Thompson. Here's Mr. Wiggle Quatron. Graham. 10 seconds to shoot. Bell. He has that shot from the three-point range, but it did not fall.
So far, they are 0 out of 3 from long distance.
Anthony Tucker trying to lose his defender. Steps back and knocks down the triple.
They were 0 out of 5 from long distance prior to that one. First triple of the game for the guys in black.
And that's a usual move coming from Anthony Tucker. 12-point lead now built by the Dreamers. So much firepower to begin this game from the visiting squad. Bell knocks down the face of Jumper over Jordan Tolbert.
That's much needed basket there coming from Mike Bell. Saigon Heat had been quiet for a couple of minutes already.
17-7 is the count. Tucker lobbing it up. Chang inside, fading away, difficult shot. Jaron Young got the offensive rebound, and the stick back did not fall, but he was able to draw the foul.
And this is the reason why Jaron Young is averaging about 13 rebounds per ball game. Whether he is inside or outside, he loves to crash that offensive glass.
And you mentioned earlier, Marco B, the activity of the Formosa Dreamers in the painted area to begin this game. 10 points already in the paint. They were actually outscored against the KL Dragons in that 80-79 loss, 44-26.
Primarily because of Will Ardino's activity inside the paint.
Who was the former import of the Formosa Dreamers, by the way, as Young drops in the free throw. 12-point lead again for Formosa. Justin Young is up against Anthony Tucker. 3 and 13 remaining here in the opening frame. Young gets it inside. Sam Thompson puts it up and in.
This is a mismatch that they can take advantage of. Good pass there, interior pass there coming from Justin Young.
Saigon Heat trying to weather the storm that is created by the Formosa Dreamers here. Young mid-range, rattling that one home.
Saigon Heat just so preoccupied defending Anthony Tucker that there was a miscommunication on defense. Nobody there to guard Jaron Young.
A lot of good looks in the perimeter from the players of Formosa. Young will create and score with the offense.
And that is the third time that he has attacked Anthony Tucker inside the paint, and it has paid dividends for the Saigon Heat.
And he is making Anthony Tucker work on the defensive end. Meantime, here's Tucker on the other side, lobbing it up, dangerous pass. Ooh, but that's gonna be a foul on Young.
A little bit of a late call there as the ball had already gone out of Jordan Tolbert's hands.
And he thought it was good. He thought it was good, but a foul was whistled and charged against Justin Young. So substitution here. Chen will come in for the Dreamers, replacing Jet Chang, so our local for a local for Coach Kyle. That is Chen Yuhan.
One of the guys that has seen his minutes dwindle with the entrance of the new locals for the Formosa Dreamers.
That's right. Anthony Tucker scoring in that sequence.
Nice
deflection here.
hesitation move there coming from Anthony Tucker. Not the quickest, not the most explosive of imports, but one of the craftiest guards we have here in the ABL.
And that's his game. That's his game. Anthony Tucker got a
Always.
couple of years with the Macau Black Bears.
Always so smooth.
That's right. Bell gets it to Young. Kicks it out. Graham for three. Too strong, still struggling to begin this game is Torian Graham.
They have done a great job challenging the outside shots of Torian Graham.
And rebound goes to Sam Thompson. A miss by Anthony Tucker. Thompson crossing over, taking it out to Tam Din, who has entered the ball game. Young from the corner, no go, but Tam Din right there, a second serving.
Missed block out there for the Formosa Dreamers. Tam Din was the guy who made the kick out pass, decided to stay under the basket. Paid dividends for him.
Saigon Heat within 10 points, but they can't afford to trade baskets with the Dreamers. They gotta get a stop here if they want to come back in this one. Young, 3 seconds to work with. Pull-up jumper again.
And he has so much confidence in his stroke right now. You see the offense of the Dreamers spread out five-man offense, capitalizing on the athleticism and the penetration of Jaron Young.
25-13 Dreamers. Thompson got Young to commit, kicking it out. Young open for three, short. And Tucker losing it. Tam Din couldn't pick it up. Tucker gets it back. Tucker is on the move, 3-on-2. Tucker gets it to Chen Yuhan, who is deflected by Torian Graham. Young! Oh no! Destroying the rim that time around.
Miscommunication there between Torian Graham and Justin Young.
Mike Bell had a dunks in the first quarter so far. Thompson gets in the painted area and puts it over Jaron Young.
And that's a better decision there from Sam Thompson. Previously had the open lane, decided to kick out to Justin Young. That time took it upon himself to get the basket.
Tucker over to Tolbert. And another slammer for Jordan Tolbert as we end the first 10 minutes of play here inside the CIS Arena. An action-packed first quarter we just had here. But the visiting squad, the Formosa Dreamers, with a double-digit advantage, 29-15 to end the first quarter. Back to the action. Here in your ASEAN Basketball League season number 10, Rise to Greatness, the Formosa Dreamers off to a fantastic start. A 29-15 lead over the Saigon Heat at the end of the first quarter. You guys have Martin Javier, Marco Benitez covering this game. Marco, everything clicked for the Formosa Dreamers. Two players in double figures. Two players in double figures after the first quarter, including Jaron Young, who had 12 and 6. Jordan Tolbert also had 10. But Thompson with a two-handed hammer right here for the Saigon Heat to open the second frame.
That was a nice backdoor cut and a feed there coming from Miguel. And you know, if you remember a couple of games ago, Macau Black Bears started out that ball game against the Saigon Heat with a 26-13 first quarter. So that's what the Heat have to be wary of. As in that game, Black Bears led by as many as 33 points, so they do not want to let this game get away from them this early.
Another slow start for the Saigon Heat. This is going to be a foul charged against Chris Durker, who returns to the lineup after a free game absence, I believe.
This is one of the difficulties when you reinsert or when you insert a new player, especially a world import, a guy who mans the middle in the middle of the season. He may be able to fit in terms of offense, but defensively, your defensive system, it's gonna take a little bit of time for him to get accustomed to it, and that's why we've seen a lot of open looks for Jordan Tolbert inside the paint because of the switching defense against Anthony Tucker and against Jaron Young. It has left that painted area wide open for penetrations and for inside passes to Jordan Tolbert.
And the Dreamers in the first quarter at least recognizing that situation and fully taking advantage of it.
Anthony Tucker, one of the best at finding an open teammate inside the paint.
That's right. Durker against Poe. Durker off to Tam Din. Tam Din with 4 seconds left. Din puts it up and Din knocks it down.
That's a big bailout shot there, as there was nothing happening on offense for the Saigon Heat.
Young sliding, gliding, could not do it. And here comes Nguyen. Saigon Heat trying to create an uprising. Chris Durker on the approach.
That's a good start here. 7-1 start for the Saigon Heat. That's just the type of answer they needed after that first quarter.
Right after the slam, Jordan Tolbert off the bench quickly for the Formosa Dreamers. This is a swipe by Thompson. 3-on-2 break for Saigon. Tam Din, bounce pass inside, and Nguyen scoring underneath.
And a quick timeout here for Coach Kyle Julius.
The Saigon Heat with a quick fight back to begin the second quarter. The lead has been chopped to 6 points. Let's go to this timeout first. That is a 9-1 uprising here for the Saigon Heat in the first minute and a half of the second quarter. Quickly getting back in this game, Marco B, and they are within striking distance.
And I think key for them was it all started out on defense, forcing a couple of turnovers, scoring in transition, getting penetrations. They tie the Dreamers in terms of points in the paint, which a stat which the Dreamers led in that first quarter because of their aggressiveness inside the paint.
And they, again, took advantage of the absence of Jordan Tolbert in the first minute and a half. He is back in the game for the Dreamers. Young couldn't do it again, and Tolbert missing the tip-in. Durker over to Young. Justin, that is. Went for three. No. Thompson trying to get it.
And you know, they're doing this, Martin, with Torian Graham on the bench.
Right.
So it's a second unit as Chris Durker pulls the seat from under Jordan Tolbert.
And Tolbert looking for the foul. None was given. Tucker basically passing that one to no one. Out of bounds. Ball going back to the home team.
So far the insertion of Chris Durker into the front line of the Saigon Heat has paid a lot of dividends here, to the tune of a 9-1 start.
That's right. This is what they missed in the past 3 games. Durker. Thompson. Shot clock down to 7. Camden at the corner. They need to get one off. Young from straight away. Way off. Tolbert gets it back. And here comes Anthony Tucker. Tucker against Thompson. Tucker using that Tolbert screen, and a hard one given by Tolbert. He is going to be called for the offensive foul.
And Sam Thompson is the one picking up Anthony Tucker. Length of Sam Thompson giving Tucker a little bit of difficulty as Tori Graham looks to re-enter the ball game, replacing Justin Young. And immediately Coach Kyle Julius sends Kenny Chien back into the ball game for defensive purposes against Graham.
So Kenny Chien in the ball game, replacing Amigo Yang. Torian Graham also back for the Heat, as you mentioned. So Vincent Nguyen bringing the ball down. Chris Durker, Saigon Heat with a 9-1 run. Durker lost it. 3 minutes down here in the second frame. Sam over to Tam Din. Tam Din trying to lose Tucker. Tam Din, no good on the step back. That one was halfway down though. And here comes Tucker.
Back-to-back three-point attempts for the Saigon Heat as Anthony Tucker taking it upon himself. Strong drive, picks up the foul. I believe it's going to go against Tam Din.
Looking to break the dry spell here for the Dreamers. Anthony Tucker taking the contact from Tam Din. And 6:44 remaining here. Another trip to the free throw line for the Formosa Dreamers. Again, they have been extra aggressive in attacking the paint here in the first half. That's why they have gotten a lot of opportunities at the free throw line.
And you know, as a defender, just so difficult to defend against Anthony Tucker because of his quick release. You're always trying to stay a little bit extra close to him. That does not need a big explosion for him to go on the penetration to go and beat you. That time through the contact against Tam Din.
And that time also he takes care of business at the free throw line. As Graham misses, here's Kenny Chen. Ball tapped from behind, Tam Din. And Saigon Heat off and running, 3-on-2. Thompson to the corner, Graham for 3. Too strong, still unable to find the mark here in the first half. And that's a foul on Thompson. Trying to box out against Jaron Young.
Torian Graham, that was as wide open a look as he has gotten all afternoon long so far. 0 out of 6 from the field after scoring 45 in their last game against the Wolf Warriors.
Again, 10 triples against the Wolf Warriors just a couple of days ago for Torian Graham.
You might say fatigue may be a factor here.
Yeah.
This is their 4th game in the span of just 6 days. This is going to be their 7th game in the span, this entire month of January. So that takes a toll on you, especially as a player who plays more than 30 minutes per ball game.
And Saigon season actually started late. That's why, right now they need to do a bit of a catch-up in terms of the number of games. As Jet Chang nails it from the corner.
That time Tam Din trying to help out against Jordan Tolbert in the paint. Had to leave his man. Unfortunately, that was Jet Chang wide open in the corner.
A 5-0 counter attack by the Dreamers. Durker gets stripped. Here comes Kenny Chan. Kenny Chan, no go. And Durker with a board. Kenny Chan looking for the foul.
A lot of contact on that sequence.
Vincent Nguyen stops on a dime, gets it to Thompson. Thompson from the baseline! Booster rising, Jaron Young!
That was a quick hammer coming from Sam Thompson.
Oh, an electrifying move coming from Sam Thompson. Heat within 9. Zucker gets it to Tolbert. Tolbert adjusting and getting the bucket to go in, plus the foul.
And again, that ball screen defense, Anthony Tucker, a master of finding that mismatch off the switch. That time, Tolbert right under the basket.
And Jordan Tolbert, what a first half he's having, Marco B. Again, complete opposite of what he's shown in the past few games for the Formosa Dreamers. As we mentioned earlier, Coach Carl Julius was telling us that, it's taking him time to really adjust to his system. But it looks like he's acclimated to the system of the Dreamers team in this game against the Saigon Heat. And Young gets the offensive rebound and puts it back in.
That's a 4-point play in reverse for the Formosa Dreamers. And that's going to be an offensive foul as Kenny Chen frustrating Corian Graham.
And a domino effect here for the Saigon Heat. First, the end-one opportunity for Tolbert, and then the offensive rebound by Young. Now the offensive foul against the Saigon Heat. That gives another opportunity for the Dreamers to increase their lead.
So Martin, after a 9-1 start here in the second quarter, a 9-2 answer, make that a 12-2 answer for the Formosa Dreamers.
And Jet Chang catching fire, nailing three-pointers from both corners here as they take the 16-point lead going into the ceasefire. Back to the ball game here inside the CIS Arena, and a 12-2 run, a counter run here by the Formosa Dreamers ever since that Coach Cal Julius timeout that we had earlier in the quarter.
And the big difference in that counter run by the Dreamers is the quality of the shot attempt that the Dreamers have been taking. They're sharing the basketball a lot better. 8 assists already for the Dreamers compared to just 2 for the Saigon Heat. Saigon Heat settling for a lot of outside shots. Meanwhile, the Dreamers moving the ball around, finding the open man, whether it's Tolbert inside the paint or it's Jet Chang at the corners. And another 3-point shot there missed by the Saigon Heat. So far, they are 1 out of 11 from long distance.
That's not going to help their cause here as they try to come back from this 16-point advantage. Tucker from straight away. Too strong. Tolbert with a rebound, and he puts it back in.
And nobody boxing out Jordan Tolbert off the miss coming from Anthony Tucker. Easy offensive rebound and put back.
And he has been having his way against this Saigon team here in the first half. Mike Bell, dangerous pass because Jaron Young was right in front of Sam Thompson.
Just effort-wise, hustle point-wise, clearly in favor of the Formosa Dreamers. 14-4 advantage in terms of second chance points.
14-4 advantage in that department. Graham all day to shoot, still off.
And because of the struggles of the Saigon Heat, the Dreamers have dropped down to a 2-3 zone.
Mike Bell puts it on the floor, challenging Tolbert, and able to draw the foul.
Better idea there on the part of Mike Bell, not settling for the outside shot, taking it strong and then drawing the foul against Jordan Tolbert.
But Torian Graham, Mark, will be struggling to begin this game in a bit of a dry spell after that explosion a couple of days ago against the Macau Wolf Warriors, where he had 45 points again. Graham unable to hit a three-pointer at this point of the game.
Well, you know, sometimes scorers will go through a dry spell. The key here for Torian Graham is to stay aggressive. He has to stay aggressive.
Yeah.
Cannot settle for the outside shots, especially if he cannot find his rhythm. Probably has to get something inside the paint or get himself to the free throw line just to see the ball go through that net.
That's a great point. Jet Chang. Anthony Tucker, Formosa with possession here. And the shot clock reads 10. Tucker with a basketball. Tucker over to Young. But Young unable to get to it. Turnover here for the Dreamers. And Justin Young checking back in. Or rather, no substitution. Saigon Heat gets the ball back.
But you know, again, you see every time Tucker uses that ball screen and Tolbert dives into the paint, the defense so focused trying to collapse against Tolbert. Jaron Young was almost wide open, except that the pass was a little wide.
If you're Saigon, you cannot get discouraged. You got to keep playing as Mike Bell puts it in.
And this is something that Mike Bell has in his arsenal, that mid-range jumper from about 17 feet.
Mike Bell, lone bright spot on the offensive end for the Saigon Heat here in the first half. Tucker lobs it up. Tolbert getting sandwiched. And the ball goes out. A lot of contact, but again, no foul given. Really, the referees, Mark, will be the officials here, letting them play.
That time, Saigon Heat making some adjustment on that ball screen defense. No switch, just a little hedge coming from Mike Bell, allowing Tam Din to recover to Anthony Tucker.
So the Saigon Heat trying to mount another uprising. They're facing the 15-point lead under 3 minutes remaining in the first half. Bell over to Young. Young is open again. Short on the three-point attempt. Tolbert gets it back for the Dreamers. Jet Chang is off and running. Chang over to Young, who jumps that one home plus the foul. Oh my.
That's a vicious tomahawk dunk. And you have to give a lot of credit. Jet Chang knowing where his teammate was. Get out of the way, Sam Thompson.
Look at that jam coming from Jaron Young. Embarrassing Thompson that time around, returning the favor because Thompson was able to posterize him earlier in the quarter.
Well, Thompson making the executive decision not even to get up and try to challenge that.
Right. And Young completes it. An 18-point advantage for the Dreamers. Durker driving, Durker scoring over Chang.
Chris Durker making another good decision to attack the smaller Jet Chang.
And that's what he learned from his 3-on-3 experience in the offseason. One-on-one moves coming from Chris Durker. 16-point lead. Young open, and that's in and out. Bell gets the board, over to Nguyen.
Saigon dodging a bullet there as Jaron Young wide open once again as the defense again collapsing towards Jordan Tolbert.
Mike Bell, one dribble in. Mike Bell doesn't get the bounce, and rebound goes to Young. The Dreamers up by 16, a minute and 45 remaining in the first half. 47-31 here. Tolbert is open from the baseline. He will attack, and he will score with the left.
That's a great move there coming from Jordan Tolbert, showing us the versatility, scoring, whether it's on the putback or that time again on a one-on-one play in the post against Mike Bell.
And that's been the money move for Sam Thompson, getting in the painted area, turning around, and getting the short step to drop.
He has been the longest tenured Saigon Heat import so far.
Right.
Has been one of the most consistent performers for them.
Former Ohio State Buckeye. Sam Thompson, here's Tolbert. Flips it up, no go. Over Mike, no good. And under a minute remaining, here's Vincent Nguyen. Saigon Heat looking to chop the lead before we end the first half. Trying to trim it down to a manageable number. Sam Thompson all the way out to half court. Thompson for three. In and out. Durker taps it. Durker saving it. And he was already outside, so ball going back to the side of the Dreamers.
And Coach Kyle Julius will call a timeout to map out probably his last offensive sequence of the first half.
So 49-33, half minute remaining. We'll be back after this. .8 seconds remaining in our first half here in Ho Chi Minh City. Hope you guys are enjoying the action here. Action-packed first half we are having here between the Saigon Heat and the Formosa Dreamers. Look at the numbers.
What a first half Jordan Tolbert has put up so far. 16 points, 18 rebounds. And Jaron Young with 17 points, 11 rebounds to his name. Meanwhile, for the Saigon Heat, only Sam Thompson in double figures with 10 points. Everybody else below in single digits in terms of scoring.
So 17 seconds remaining. Tucker rips the cord!
What a play off a timeout there. Perfectly executed for the Formosa Dreamers.
Saigon Heat with a basketball. Durker pulls the trigger, no good, and Tucker gets the board. And that's how we will end the first 20 minutes of action here in Vietnam. It is the Dreamers, the visiting team, with a commanding 9-point lead, 52-33. To end the first half, going into the halftime break. We'll give you highlights, we'll give you numbers in a little bit. You guys are watching the ASEAN Basketball League season number 10, Rise to Greatness. welcome you back to the coverage here inside the CIS Arena. This is your ASEAN Basketball League season number 10. Battle between the Saigon Heat and the Formosa Dreamers. We'll be starting the second half in a little bit. You guys are joined by Martin Javier, Marco Benitez here in the coverage. Marco, complete domination so far by the Dreamers, dominating almost every aspect so far of the game.
Well, I think the key stats that we were looking at during the halftime was second chance points, 14-4. 14-5 advantage for the Dreamers in terms of second chance points. Gives you an idea of the effort that they've had on the offensive glass.
Yeah.
3-point shooting as well, 4 of 12 for the Dreamers, was just 1 out of 15 for the Saigon Heat. A little bit of a trap here for the Saigon Heat. They need to force a lot of turnovers to start this third quarter.
So a visible change in terms of the play and the defensive end for the Saigon Heat in the first sequence of the second half. They're out-rebounded at this point 28-13 by the Formosa Dreamers, so that's something they need to address here in the second half.
Interesting start as well for the Saigon Heat. No Torian Graham to start out the third quarter, as so far he is 0 out of 7 from the field, 0 points so far for the guy who scored 45 just a couple of nights ago.
Interesting move here by Coach Kevin Yerkes, keeping Graham off the bench to begin the third quarter. Tolbert lost it, but he will recover. Formosa Dreamers only attack. Yang to the corner. Jet Chang pulls the trigger. It did not work. Mike Bell, Tolbert getting tangled up. And jump ball possession arrow points in the direction of the white shirts.
That's one thing that Mike Bell will have to focus on here in the second half. Really putting a body against Jordan Tolbert on that box out sequence, or on that rebounding sequence, as he has been outplayed by Tolbert so far. Already has a double-double to his name.
Yeah. Durker gets inside, flips it up and in. Chris Durker with a nice move to open the scoring for the Heat.
Oh, check that, 16 points, 8 rebounds for Tolbert. Meanwhile, Chris Durker has been one of the bright spots, especially since he entered the ball game in that second quarter.
Tolbert inside. Tolbert, couple of fakes, but bothered by the Saigon defense. And here comes Thompson. Thompson stops, retreats, and it is Durker. Over to Quatran. Quatran to Durker. Had a nice move earlier. Has Tucker against him. Mike Bell driving. Off to Durker again. Fading away, too strong. And the rebound goes to Anthony Tucker. Over to Amigo, who has a free lane to the basket, but he blew the layup. Good thing Jet Chang was right there to clean up the mess.
8 fast break points already for the Formosa Dreamers. Again, they're not the best in terms of transition offense, but they run on opportunity, and with their athletic wings, they're able to take advantage.
And the Heat continue to struggle from the outside, Marco B. That's another attempt missed by Sam Thompson this time. Anthony Tucker against Young. Justin, the defense against Tucker. Tucker looking for the foul, not given. Thompson baseline move, hang time off the glass. It will bounce out. And here comes Formosa.
And no second chance opportunities for the Saigon Heat. And Sam Thompson clearly frustrated with the no call there.
Quatran charged with a personal as he approached Jaron Young in the sequence earlier. 54-35. 2.5 gone in the third quarter. Tucker getting double teamed. Amigo gets it. Amigo pulls the trigger and he knocks it down.
And that's a big shot against the much taller Mike Bell. That's going to do a lot for the confidence of Amigo Yang.
That's the veteran Amigo Yang nailing the jumper and giving them back the 22-point lead. Mike Bell driving. Bell, no good. Bell gets it back though. And a fresh 14 to work with. Quatran in rhythm. He drops it in.
That's a big shot there for Quatran. I believe those are his first points of the game, only the second triple of the game for the home squad.
So Saigon hoping that could be the start of a trend here in the second half. But the Dreamers, they've been relentless so far as Jet Chang and Quatran, both players falling down. Tran called for the foul. Third personal, second one committed here in the third frame.
And, you know, when you have guys like Jet Chang, Amigo Yang, they do not commit a lot of mistakes, make some great decisions on the floor.
Yeah.
And this has been one of the big differences of this Formosa Dreamers squad this season.
The vets added to this team. And look at that. Amigo over to Chang. Jet rips the cord on that pull-up J.
Off a penetration and the kick-out pass coming from Amigo Yang. 10 points already for Jet Chang.
21-point lead. Durker, Justin Young underneath. Too strong. Jaron Young gets the board.
Again, adds to his rebounding total. 14 rebounds already.
Wow.
For Jaron Young.
And have a 20-20. Here is Tolbert. Jams that one on the alley-oop. And the Dreamers off to a hot start here in the third quarter. Here's a second look. Jet Chang over to Jordan Tolbert for the two-handed hammer. Time on the floor after this. Back to the ball game, a 12-5 start here in the third quarter for the Dreamers to create the 23-point lead. And Marco B, it looks like they've already learned their lesson from the previous game. That game they were up by as many as 20 points in the first two quarters, but they lost the lead, eventually lost the game by a point. Today, you know, they're looking to maintain this big lead until the end of the game.
Well, they've shown that they are the team that has put in the better effort here throughout the ball game. So far, 3.5 quarters. It's shown in terms of their offensive rebounding. In terms of their offense, that 4 out, 1 in type of offense has caused a lot of problems for the Saigon Heat.
And Jet Chang, you saw the numbers earlier, 12 points, 3 boards. And Mike Bell getting the foul inside.
Still cannot buy a basket despite that putback under the rim.
Let's take a look at the move by Chris Durker. Yeah, way short on that hook. Good thing Mike Bell was waiting underneath to get the board. And now he has an opportunity at the free throw line. You know, they haven't had a lot of attempts on the line. You know, that's an aspect that is also taken advantage of by the Formosa Dreamers. So Mike Bell, a good shooter. Coach Kevin Yerkes on your screens. Drops in the first. His first game as a Saigon Heat. Mike Bell, 2 for 2.
Enters double digits with 11 points. Only the second Saigon Heat player in double figures. He and Sam Thompson, who has 10. But look how wide open that shaded area.
That's right.
Of the Formosa Dreamers is.
And Jaron Young has been money from 17 feet today, Marco B.
They're just lighting it up from outside. 52% from the field for the Formosa Dreamers. And
Bell couldn't answer.
No second chance opportunities for the Saigon Heat.
And the Dreamers with a very comfortable lead here. 63-40. Halfway done in the third quarter. Kenny Chen. Sucker cross court. Young against Thompson. 4 seconds to work with. Young step back jumper. Hand in his face, too strong. And Bell gets the rebound. Young on the move. Doesn't have the numbers, but will attack anyway. And that's a strip. Great defense played by Kenny Chen in transition.
That's one thing that the Dreamers have done excellently in this ball game. Get back in transition. They've only allowed 4 fast break points for the Saigon Heat so far.
Yeah. Preventing all of the fast break opportunities here. Saigon had numerous attempts in transition, but just couldn't convert in a lot of them. Mike Bell missing the mark.
And nobody inside the paint to try to contest for that offensive rebound.
Flip pass. Chang getting fouled from behind by Justin Young.
And you know, these penetrations from the Formosa Dreamers, they seem to have always gotten a step ahead of their defender, and that forces the Saigon Heat defender in the middle to help out, leaving the big man. Normally it is Jordan Tolbert wide open, either for the drop pass or the alley-oop, which has resulted in multiple slam attempts.
It's an excellent point, Marco B. A lot of blow-bys we've seen here. Dreamers blowing by the players from the Saigon Heat as Anthony Zucker calmly knocks down the J. It is a 25-point lead mounted by Formosa.
And that's just poor ball screen defense there. Tam Dinh getting caught by the screen. No hedge coming from the big man. Wide open jumper for Anthony Tucker.
And the Heat, you know, trying to break the dry spell here. Thompson, difficult shot off the turnaround.
And you see the big difference in terms of the quality of the shots from the Saigon Heat as compared to the Dreamers, where a lot of their shots have been open looks or easy passes or easy drop passes inside the paint.
Here's Jaron Young. Thompson. Tolbert providing the screen. Young from 17 again. Connects.
Formosa Dreamers just putting on a clinic so far here in the third quarter.
And how about Jaron Young? His jumper falling today. Already has a double-double and leading his team in scoring so far. Nguyen puts it up and in off the glass. A three-point play opportunity for Vincent Nguyen.
One of the few baskets we've seen inside the paint here in the third quarter. One of the few penetrations we've seen.
And Saigon getting their attempts a lot from isolation plays. A lot of one-on-ones on offense. It's either Thompson, Turker, Justin Young, but not a lot of ball rotation on the side of the Heat. 67 to 43. Nguyen completes the three-point play. Kenny Chen over to Tucker. Tucker utilizing the screen. Chen driving. That's another penetration for Kenny Chen, but a lucky break for the Saigon Heat. He lost it out of bounds.
Now they dodged the bullet that time. Again, another blow by. Defense forced to scramble off the double team against Anthony Tucker. And the Formosa Dreamers have done an excellent job of moving the ball, skipping the ball after that double team.
And Saigon Heat trying to create an uprising again. Nguyen, cross-court pass, foul on Chen Yuhan. And that's only the third team foul against the Formosa Dreamers, so they're not yet over the limit. Here's the foul provided by Ken Yuhan. 14 seconds to work with. Tam Dinh driving. Tam Dinh, no. Rebound goes to Tolbert.
We had excellent interior defense coming from the Formosa Dreamers.
Tucker step back. Ooh. Halfway down, it's off. Thompson in transition against Young, and Lee lost it. Well, that's a missed opportunity for Sam Thompson.
Another turnover for them, and that's something they cannot afford, being down by 24 big points. Coach Kevin Yerkos has opted to keep Torian Graham on the bench.
Interesting decision here, Marco B. So no Torian Graham, down by 24. Kenny Chen, so Young will bring it downhill for Formosa. Turker checking him. Approaching 2 minutes left here in the third quarter. Jaron driving, dishing it out. Kenny Chen puts it on the floor, a foul. And that's gonna be whistled against Vincent Nguyen.
Okay, penetration, kick out, another penetration. Saigon Heat forced the foul.
Young, Anthony Tucker got to his spot but backs up. Tucker against Thompson. Thompson looking to bother Tucker here. That's short on the fadeaway. Thompson on the move. Thompson down the lane. Oh, too strong on the layup. But Nguyen gets it back. Turker wasn't looking though. And a turnover for the Heat.
Now you can say that has been the story of the game so far, these miscommunications on offense for the Saigon Heat.
24-point lead. And so far, the Heat has only scored 10 points in the third quarter, as opposed to the 15 by the Formosa Dreamers. They've been held to under 20 points in each of the quarters so far. Thompson, open lane for the jam.
One of the few baskets off a turnover for the Formosa Dreamers, who have done an excellent job taking care of the basketball.
But here's another open look. Kenny Chen missing the mark though, but gets it back. Another offensive rebound for Formosa. Young down the lane, Young lays it up and in.
Another easy layup as the defense was scrambling. Talking about the Saigon Heat.
23 points now for Jaron Young. Bell, face up Jay. Durker tries to tip it. Chen Yuhan with a save to the right guy. Kenny Chen picks it up. Tucker now. Then stamped in. Tucker turns around, sees the defender, and retreats. Anthony Tucker will create and facilitate.
And Anthony Tucker always seems to be so composed.
Young attacking. Oh, difficult shot. Banked in by Jaron Young. The whistle and the foul, and a free throw coming up.
And you know, in the middle of this game, there's been a side duel between Jaron Young and Sam Thompson. Each player has tried to one-up the other.
Yeah. But so far, the overwhelming advantage for Jaron Young in this game. He's got 25 points. And alongside 16 rebounds.
Coach Kyle Julius taking this opportunity to send in his bench squad.
Yeah.
Give them a little bit of burn here in the third quarter with 30 seconds remaining. Po and Chang have checked in together with Chen Yuhan.
So this is a 26-point lead, now 27. As Young completes the three-point play. Tim Whale is on the floor now for the Saigon Heat. Justin Young, Vincent Nguyen, Chris Durker, Tam Din. So an all-local 5 on the floor for Coach Kevin. Vincent Nguyen. Final 27 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
About a 5-second differential.
Durker. Young inside. Justin Young with the right, too strong, but good decision to attack there. So a trip to the line for Justin Young. Let's take a look at the replay here. Recognizing that he had a smaller Chang on him and attacked it right away.
You know, Formosa Dreamers have not gotten a lot of credit for their defense so far this season, but they have played excellent defense in this ball game. They've limited Saigon Heat to just 12 points here in the third quarter. And as you mentioned earlier, Martin, Saigon Heat have not scored more than 18 points in any of the three quarters. And a lot of that is credit to the defense that the Formosa Dreamers have played, especially on the perimeter.
And on the opposite side, the Dreamers have topped the 20-point plateau in each of the three quarters we've had so far. Young against Whale, and that's the end of the quarter. 72-47 is the count. A 25-point lead for the Formosa Dreamers going into the fourth and final frame. This is your ASEAN Basketball League. We'll be back in a little bit. Welcome back to the coverage. Fourth quarter about to begin here inside the CIS Arena in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Good evening, everybody. This is the battle between the Saigon Heat and the Formosa Dreamers. Right now, it is the visiting squad with a 25-point lead as we begin the final 10 minutes of this game. You guys are joined by Martin Javier and Marco Benitez here in the coverage. And Marco B, what a return to the CIS Arena for Coach Cal Julius.
He's really taking it against the Saigon Heat. They've limited the Saigon Heat to just 47 points for a team that averages about 76 points per ball game. So you see the defense that the Formosa Dreamers have played. Meanwhile, Saigon Heat coach Kevin Yurkos opting to go local here in the fourth quarter, choosing not to field any import
Now he is trying to find the right combination on the court. Obviously, talking about Coach Kevin Yurkus, we have to note as well that Torian Graham hasn't played here in the second half, hasn't scored in this game. 0 out of 7 from the field. All of those attempts in the first half.
And he has only played 13 and a half minutes here in this ball game. The defense of Formosa Dreamers have really done a number against Torian Graham. They've really prepared. Remember, Formosa Dreamers have had about a week to prepare. Coach Kyle Julius said that they were here as early as Sunday or Monday. Meanwhile, the Saigon Heat coming from a game in Macau or in the Foshan Shishan Gymnasium just a couple of nights ago.
So fatigue might be a factor, but when you play here, you know, you can offer no excuses.
Especially in front of your home crowd.
That's right. 72-47, that's going to be a foul against the Saigon Heat. Tim Whale drawing the contact here, trying to annoy Jordan Tolbert at the post. Chang, steal by Tam Din. One-on-one against Tucker. Tam Din will go all the way to the hoop.
Asking for a foul there, but Tam Din was the one who initiated the contact.
A very popular player here in Vietnam, a decorated player in the Vietnam Basketball Association, a champion and MVP as well. Tucker. Kenny Chan driving. Hop step. Got inside.
And that's just too easy, especially off the double team against that ball screen as Nguyen scores on the easy layup.
That is Vincent Nguyen escaping, and a quick retaliation from the Saigon Heat.
Coach Kevin Yurkus telling his Swartz to double team or try to put a little more pressure on the defensive end, but Anthony Tucker, one of the most difficult to defend against.
That's right, but Tucker trying to force that shot that time. And Tucker did not like the no call, so he's going to be teed up here.
The referee has had enough of Anthony Tucker's complaining, so Coach Kyle Julius will send Jaren Young back into the game for Kenny Chen. Try to close this game out.
So Tam Din will do the honors of taking the technical free throw. It is Tam Din, Vincent Nguyen, Justin Young, Tim Whale, and Turker on the court. An all-local 5 for Coach Kevin Yurkus. On the other side, they got Jordan Tolbert, Jaren Young, Chen Yuhan, Jet Chang, and Anthony Tucker for Coach Kyle.
Well, let's see if the locals can put in the effort, especially on the defensive end, try to force a couple of turnovers, get some baskets off of those turnovers, and try to change the complexion of the game. It's just it's a 22-point advantage. Still with about 8 minutes to go.
You need to get a lot of points quickly if you're the Saigon Heat here. Tam Din, Durker thinking about it, driving instead, losing it momentarily, and losing it completely that time.
Turnover is not going to help the cause. Chris Durker had an open look, but thought twice once he saw Jordan Tolbert close out.
So another chance for the Dreamers. Chen Yuhan over to Tolbert inside.
And again, the blow-by forces the help defense from the center. And nobody there left to defend, or a smaller guy left to defend against Jordan Tolbert.
Justin Young trying to create, bothered by Anthony Tucker. Turker is open. No good on the three-point attempt. Battle for the rebound. Ball goes out, and possession goes to the Formosa Dreamers. Black shirts will get it.
And the rebounding story has been pretty much all Formosa. They've out-rebounded Saigon Heat 42-26.
Wow. Huge advantage, and that's especially on the offensive glass. Chang, one dribble in. Chang knocks it down.
And they've done an excellent job hitting on those one dribble pull-ups. Guys like Jet Chang, Jaren Young, even Amigo Yang.
Everything clicking now and working for the Dreamers. Tam Din open, and he rips the cord.
Second triple of the game for Tam Din. His first, or make that his first triple.
And Saigon, well, they've been trading baskets with the Dreamers all game long. So they need to get at least a stop, and that's not going to help. Jaron Young lost Durker in that play.
That's just better offense there. Jaron Young getting Chris Durker up in the air, then a nice spin move, finishing with that right hand.
80-55 now. Tam Din. He's got the hot hand for the white shirts. Tam Din still hot. Oh. Face up over Chen Yuhan and nails the corner triple.
So back-to-back triples, check that. That's his 4th triple of the game. He was 3 out of 3 in their last game against the Wolf Warriors.
And right now he has been the focal point, at least here in the 4th quarter on offense for the Saigon Heat. That's going to be a foul against Tim Whale, bumping against Anthony Tucker. 58-80 is the count.
Sam Thompson checking back into the game.
Will replace Justin Young, who has struggled all game long.
And you know, again, a couple of stops.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of three-pointers, get the lead down to below 15 points. With about 3 minutes remaining. But that's not going to help you.
Jet Chang, this time from longer range, knocking down the free. Durker got in, but could not get that one to drop. Here comes Tucker. Tucker floater. Tucker too strong. Thompson couldn't secure it. Jet Chang gets it back, and Jaron Young has the open lane, providing some thunder here inside the CIS Arena.
And again, second chance opportunities have been the bane of the Saigon Heat in this ball game.
Under 5 minutes remaining. Complete domination by the Formosa Dreamers. Durker draws air. And a foul here against the Saigon Heat. Mike Bell will check in. Torian Graham, no signs of him still. Marco B.
Quatran has also stayed on that bench for a little bit.
So a timeout here. Dreamers ahead by 27 points. 4:34 remaining. All right, 4:34 remaining. The Dreamers maintaining the huge advantage here, 85-58. As we see the numbers here of Tam Din, 14 points across his name and getting most of the points here in the 4th frame.
And you know, Martin, the previous low of the Saigon Heat this season has been 64 points against the Mono Vampire in their first game, and against the Mono Vampire again in their game last January 12. So far, they are on pace with 58 points with about 4.5 minutes remaining.
And this is a tough break for the Saigon Heat, Marco B. You know, their 7th game of the season. And they've had a lot of changes already in terms of their personnel.
And you know, sometimes, even with a lot of talent on your squad, it's really that chemistry and the stability. As we've seen this Formosa Dreamers squad gel and gel even more as the games have gone by.
And that chemistry you're talking about displayed all night long by the Formosa Dreamers. They grabbed the 29-point lead. Tam Din, no good. Tucker gets the rebound. 3:51 remaining in this ball game. And the Dreamers will waste the time away.
And you know, this impending win by the Formosa Dreamers will bring them to 6-6. Back up to 500. Coach Kyle Julius was saying his goal for the elimination round or for the regular season is to keep his team in the middle of the pack or as a contender. They do not have to be the #1 seed going into the playoff. As Jaron Young
missing the dunk attempt, and Tam Din taking advantage on the other side. So 17 markers now for Tam Din.
I believe that's his 5th triple of the game.
Anthony Tucker draws contact on that drive. And when you talk about this Formosa Dreamers team, they had a rough start to the season. As we take a look at this drive first by Mr. Anthony Tucker. Fantastic game so far from him.
That's right. They started out with 3 straight losses.
Yeah, 0-3.
Before they won one against the Macau Black Bears, but their last 5 games so far, they are going to be 4-1 in their last 5 games, and they have beaten the teams that are above them in the standings.
Right.
They've beaten teams like the Taipei Fubon Braves. They've beaten the Macau Wolf Warriors twice. They've also beaten the Singapore Slingers, so they definitely in the mix for one of the top squads here in season 10 of the ABL.
Oh, when you're led by Anthony Tucker, you can guarantee that you will compete here in the ABL, as we have seen in the past 2 seasons.
Oh yeah, former World Import MVP, talking about Anthony Tucker.
Yeah.
Guy who's capable of averaging almost a triple-double.
And Anthony Tucker and the Dreamers taking the 28-point advantage here under 3 minutes remaining. The Dreamers will go up to 6-6. 6-3 in their last 9 games, and ever since that 0-3 start, and Chang adds salt to the wound as he gets the N1 opportunity.
Coach Kyle Julius is pumped up because his secondary, even 3rd-string players getting a lot of burn, making some positive contributions. And the key for Anthony Tucker is to stay healthy.
Yeah.
The entire season, he has been plagued with a couple of injuries, especially last season. But when healthy, he is definitely in the conversation for import MVP. And so is Jaron Young.
That's right. Young, by the way, not too shabby today. 30 points, 17 rebounds for Jaron Young.
Jaron Young, 30 points, 17 rebounds. Jordan Tolbert, 20 points, 11 rebounds.
Yeah.
Anthony Tucker, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. And then you have Jet Chang with 19 points. So all 4 out of the 5 starters for the Dreamers in double figures.
And what a way to bounce back as well if you're Formosa. A heartbreaking loss against the Kuala Lumpur Dragons. And now they get the emphatic win against Saigon on their home floor. Here's Jet Chang. Chang turns on the Jets and goes high off the glass for that basket.
And he's going to go up to 21 big points.
93-61, complete obliteration here. Chang, one-on-one against Nguyen. Chang will score.
And talking about Chang, Jet Chang has tied his season high of 21 points, which he had against the Fubon Braves and the Macau Wolf Warriors.
The Formosa Dreamers will carry the 34-point lead going into this timeout that was called by Coach Kevin Yerkes. back to the coverage. And still a humongous lead held here by the Dreamers. Under 2 minutes remaining. Jet Chang on your screens, a veteran player on this squad. 21 points in this game, a big boost in terms of the local production on the side of Coach Cal Julius. But looking ahead, Coach Mark will be the next games for the Formosa Dreamers.
Well, they're going to have a chance to get some retribution against the KL Dragons.
Yeah.
That's going to be on Feb 1. And then they will face the Saigon Heat once again. And then back-to-back games against the Hong Kong Eastern squad, which currently is one of the in the lower half of the standings. Meanwhile, for the Saigon Heat, after this impending loss, they're going to face the Hong Kong Eastern on a couple of days from now. And then the Singapore Slingers, and then they face the Dreamers once again. And then they're going to play the Mono Vampire squad, one of the top teams in the league. That's going to be on Feb 4. So the schedule does not get any easier for them.
Right.
They're going to have about 9 games in January. Tough schedule for them.
They're 2-5, Marco B. So a lot of pressure now, you know, on the shoulders of the players of the Saigon Heat. 2-5, and again, we have a limited schedule, limited number of games, so we have to get those wins quickly.
Yeah.
But if you're the Formosa Dreamers, after this, you know, they're gonna go to a 2-week break, or at least almost 2 weeks, before they play again against the Kuala Lumpur Dragons, as Tam Din drives and scores on the lay-in. A minute remaining. They're inside the CAS Arena.
And I think for the Saigon Heat, Martin, the key with about just 7 games, it's still a long season for them, but what is crucial for them is to get their chemistry going, especially with their set of imports. They really need to gel together with the locals of this squad. They have a good set of locals, good set of imports. Just a matter of finding their chemistry and then getting their confidence and stringing some wins together.
They won against the Macau Wolf Warriors a couple of games ago, but you know, they didn't get their rhythm in this game, unable to get at least 20 points in a quarter, so struggling really offensively are the Saigon Heat. 63-95, 15 seconds remaining, and the Formosa Dreamers will look to complete this win as Tam Din misses the mark. 3 seconds remaining. The tip-in by Vin Nguyen. And that tall, lanky player off the bench tips it right in. But the Dreamers will officially take this one. A 30-point win on the road against the Saigon Heat. The Dreamers will move up to 6-6 in the team standings. Saigon Heat crashing down to 2-5.
Well, key for the Dreamers was their strong start in that first quarter. 29-15, and then they never looked back from there. Followed up with a 23-18 second quarter. Held Saigon Heat to just 14 points in the third and just 16 points here in the final quarter, en route to a convincing 95-65 30-point win.
The Formosa Dreamers completely shutting down the Saigon Heat team, coming in here on their home court and beating them by 30 big points, 95-65. Way to bounce back as well from that heartbreaker against the Kuala Lumpur Dragons in Mava Stadium in Malaysia. All right, thank you so much for catching all of the action here. Again, it is a victory for the Formosa Dreamers. On behalf of the entire broadcast team, Marco B, great having you here in the coverage. My name is Martin Javier saying thank you, good night. See you in the next game here in Season 10 of your ASEAN Basketball League Rise to Greatness.
Mono Vampire.
Only 7 remaining. He makes his move. Young forces it up and in!
CC hasn't made a shot before that.
Pretty good so far here in the first half.
Lie. Oh, everyone for the Black Bears finding the bottom of the net.
Leaky with a big steal. Leaky for 3. That goes in. What a play.
This broadcast of the ASEAN Basketball League may not be way, shape, or form without an express written consent of the ABL.